Hi again, second grade students. We're going to go over a lesson about the parts of a book. First, I want you to look at your reference section, your reference material. And this is actually your last two references this year. It's on page 32, probably on the very back of your reference section. And we're going to go over, at the top it says reference 48, the front parts of a book. And then we're also going to go over this, reference 49, the back parts of a book. So, these could refer to fiction books. But a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times some of this is in nonfiction and reference books. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the front of a book. Title page. This page has the full title of the book, the author's name, the illustrator's name, the name of the publishing company, and the city where the book was published. So, for an example, I thought I would get out when I was in grad school, my second master's degree, I got the opportunity to write a big paper. It was a thesis, what they call thesis paper. So I got the opportunity to make all of these. So I just thought I would show you as we go. Here was my title page. And indeed, just like it says in your reference, it has the full title, the title of the author, which was me, the publishing company, and where it was published. So at that point, I was in grad school in West Virginia, although it was online, but it was still considered from their state. So let's go ahead and keep moving. Number 2, it says copyright page. This page is right after the title page and tells the year in which the book was published and who owns the copyright. If the book has an ISBN number, International Standard Book Number, it is also listed here. So on my thesis book, indeed, on the second page is the copyright. So I am the owner of the copyright, and I did put the year there, 2013, all rights reserved. Now this did not have an ISBN number. Some books do, but this one doesn't. Let's move on to number 3, preface, also sometimes called an introduction. If a book has this page, it will come before the table of contents and will usually tell briefly why the book was written and what it is about. So guess what? There was my copyright page. That was number 2. I also did have a dedication page to my parents and an acknowledgement page to my 4 daughters. But here I began with my preface, why I wrote the book or the thesis and what it was about. So it was just this one page. I was required to make just one page. All right, let's move on go back to your reference section again. Number 4, the next page should be table of contents. This section lists the major divisions of the book by units or chapters and tells their page numbers. Okay, so guess what? After my preface that I just showed you, well, in grad school, I also had to do an abstract. You don't have to learn that now. But look, indeed, I did have table of contents, intro, chapters, and there were different sections and all the page numbers. Okay. And then the body. This is the main section or text of the book. That's number 5 for them. That is going to be by far the biggest part of the book. So here, when I wrote it, oh, it was, let's see, I think it was 97 pages long. I loved writing this, by the way. I loved doing it. And I chopped it up in Roman Empire and Chinese, ancient Chinese. I finally got to modern times, the Grand Coulee Dam and the Panama Canal and so on. So it was, actually it was not 97, it was 71 pages of text. So by far still the longest. All right, let's go ahead and take a look now what is on. Let's look at reference 49, the back parts of a book. At the back, you'll find oftentimes find an appendix. This section includes extra informative material such as maps, charts, tables, diagrams, letters, etc. It is always wise to find out what is in the appendix, since it may contain supplementary material that you could otherwise find only by going to the library. And that is indeed what I put in my publication too. I put, here's my appendix. You see the word appendix. And it started off with some ancient pictures of tablets, cuneiform writing, and it went on to other ancient pictures of ancient things. Here, so on. Here, yep, here's my maps of the Roman aqueducts. Like map of the Panama Canal. All kinds of, I just loved writing this. This actually brings back a lot of good memories. Another map. Some of the, they're called locks at the Panama Canal, these huge gates that hold back the water at times. More photos, more maps. Anyway, oh, and there's some of Grant County too in my, oh, one of the ones I wanted to show you kids was what a stark difference is in the state of Washington. Over here, like purple and dark green and dark pink represents very, very wet areas. Lots and lots of rain in our state. Over here on the west side, which would include Seattle and Olympia and Everett. Look, once you get past the Cascade Range though, look how amazingly dry the rest of our state is. And in fact, here this is the driest of all when it's this dark, dark red. And our county, Grant County, which of course includes Ephrata, Soap Lake, Moses Lake, Quincy, very, very dry and hot. So some people think our state is just really wet, but they have no idea that 2/3 of the state is desert. Anyway, let's go back to our, oh, and I did want to point out too that I have lots of pictures of I wrote about our Columbia Basin project. So here's the Columbia River and Grand Coulee Dam. Anyway, those are the things I included in my appendix. Okay, the back of the book also often contains glossary. This section is like a dictionary and gives the meanings of some of the important words in the book. So writing this, I did indeed have words that were uncommon, and I included them in my glossary. So, for example, channeled scablands. Some people reading this might not know what that means. So I put the definition: dry, harsh region in central, eastern Washington state. It's called the channeled scablands where we live. Flashlock. Oh, lots of things that would be unusual words to other people. And I had 2 pages of glossary, 2 pages of words, unusual words, and their definitions. Okay, Next, in the back of a book, here in your reference section, it says bibliography. This section includes a list of books used by the author. It could serve as a guide for further reading on a topic. Well, guess what? That's exactly what I included here too. Here's my glossary. Very next page is my bibliography. And to write a master's thesis requires a lot of research, and there's only certain types of books and websites that we're allowed to use to do this. You can't just pick up any old book by any old author. So bibliography shows sometimes it's a website, sometimes it's a book. Oh, and those were primary sources. Well, I don't want to confuse you kids. Just real briefly, primary sources are direct sources from someone or something that was written at that time that the events happened. And then secondary sources are part of a bibliography too. And that's where you use material, you use books and encyclopedias that are like kind of secondhand written, but they still have to qualify to be in that. Anyway, and then last but not least, index. This will probably be your most useful section. The purpose of the index is to help you quickly locate information about the topics in the book. It has an alphabetical list of specific topics and tells on which page that information can be found. It is similar to the table of contents, but it is much more detailed. If you recall correctly, the table of contents is more at the beginning of the book. So for my master's thesis, they did not require us to write an index. That actually would have been fun though. This was published, by the way, in the university system. So we only were required to have the table of contents, which we already took a look at. The page numbers of everything. All right, so let's go ahead. Keep out this reference section though. A lot of this is new to you kids, and they're kind of big words. Keep it right by your side to do this paper. So now I want you to get out page 77, and at the top it says chapter 26, lesson 2, practice 1. Match each part of a book listed below with the type of information it may give you. Write the appropriate letter in the blank. You may use each letter only once. Okay, so I'm going to have you kids, I'm only going to help, since you have your reference section right here, I think you can do this practice lesson on your own. One I thought I'd help you with though, not all books, and they did say that in there, not all books have ISBN numbers on the copyright page. But I just wanted to help you out there. You can often find it on the copyright page. So here, number 3, it says ISBN number, International Standard, I'm kind of going blank. International Standard Book Number. That is, you would usually find that on the copyright page. So you would write F right there. So go ahead and fill in the rest on your own. You're totally welcome. We went through a lot of information, so feel free to go ahead and look at your reference section and have that as a guide. As usual, I would love for you to do, and this one there's no backside. I think I put a little note to all of you though back there, so take a look when you're done with that. And you also are going to do Chapter 26 test. This time I'm not going to help you. I want you to try to do this entire test on your own. The only one new thing would be this section here where the information we just learned um, about the text of the book and the publisher's name and extra maps where you would find those. But for this entire test, I am totally fine with you using your entire reference book or any of the reference sections that would help you complete this test on your own. So I helped you with the test 24, and this is test 26, page 105. And I would like you to try this test completely on your own, or with the reference book, or with a parent help if you really need it too. You're always welcome to do some of you did. Some of you I am awarding extra stickers to when I see you on May 29th on the last day of school. Because you've done some of the extra work that you didn't have to do. You did some of the optional pages, and I love it when you want to challenge yourself. On the other hand, some of you also have a lot of other work that you're maybe working on, and so I'm going to leave it up to your parents if they think that they want you to do those back pages that say optional. All right, kiddos. I'll see you May 29th on the last day of school. If you have questions about some of the information I went over with you, have your parent email me. Anyway, see you on May 29th on a Friday. Bye.